Welcome to the Gentleman's Talk, where the podcast talks about a man's battle with mental health, his personal experiences, and his journey to be a better soul. Hosted by James Dean Littlejohn.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Gentleman's Talk. How are we? I hope you're okay. It's Friday. I missed Reflection this week, and it's a Friday now, and to be honest, I've jumped on because I need to jump on. I've been reflecting quite heavily. I've had a tough week. I've had a tough couple of weeks, to be fair. It's been slowly in the making, but it's helped me reflect, and I thought, shit, I need to talk, I need to jump on, and I need to open up and be able to just let my mind go free, if you like, and try and articulate how I'm feeling. Not for the sympathy factor, just to show you that it's crazy how these things crop up on you, really. And the last couple of weeks have been slowly getting there. I've been slowly anxious. I've been slowly getting angrier. And I reflected quite heavily, literally within the hour. And I went, jump on, James. You need to talk. And I don't know where it's come from, really. And what I'm talking about, really, is just mental health decline. I know that there's massive issues in the country. I know that mental health's a struggle. And it's almost like, but this is the first time, I suppose, that I've almost felt emasculated. I've almost felt weak. And I don't mean weak physically, just I feel weak overall. I didn't feel like a man. I haven't felt like a man now for a couple of weeks. And I just don't know why. It's just consumed me. And I'm in this little group, which is absolutely fantastic. And I spoke about this before. We're called the Positive Vibes. It's a great little group. And all of us, really, have been... Excuse me, pardon me. I've just had a big glass of orange juice. Always drinking on here, trying to keep the mouth moist. Moist. I love that word, sorry. Keep the mouth moist while I can talk and my throat moist. Anyway, we've all been talking, and we've slowly seen a little bit of a decline. A couple of my friends have displayed, they're struggling, and I know that it's that time of year where the rain comes and the darkness draws in earlier, and it's difficult, because you don't have the vitamin C, you don't have the natural sunlight to perk you up, and also, if you're an outdoorsy person, very much like me, it literally abolishes 90% of your fun, because I enjoy the wilderness, I enjoy walking, I enjoy getting out with my dog, I enjoy golf, I enjoy everything I enjoy involves outside, I enjoy the water, etc, etc. So, all of my enjoyment naturally gets taken away at this time of year through the seasonal change. And I've spoke about this a little while ago about seasonal affect disorder, and it affects everybody, I think, in the UK, and probably in other countries. I can't speak for the demographic of the other countries just purely because I don't know, I don't have any experience on it. But I know the UK struggle because we get to this point and we're being blessed with this possible Indian summer, which might help, but it will still be dark. It might be warm, but it will still be dark, which then tricks all the nature as well, doesn't it? I think I've got a couple of plants in the garden that started fucking flowering due to it being 19, 20 degrees. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? But yeah, so, I've noticed in this little group that we've all been displaying this difficult time, and we've all been trying to perk each other up, and I don't want to seem like a burden, so I kind of draw away a little bit, and then when I draw away, I then show these signs, on my reflection just a minute ago, I was trying to understand why I've been feeling this way. Naturally, there's things I haven't spoken about, but I have spoken about with regards to my family, and that sort of led me to really, like I said, reflection is so important. It's so important. I can't emphasize taking the time out to reflect on yourself heavily. Talk to yourself. I know that we used to say talking to yourself is a sign of madness, and the next sign of madness or insanity is answering yourself back. However, when you get to a certain age, if you're doing that, yes, it could be perceived as being a sign of insanity. But when you get to a certain age, you need to do that. I've been doing it so much, actually, that it's literally ludicrous, because I've been trying to reflect. So I've been talking about scenarios, and you know what? The last couple of nights I have been sat there at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, openly talking out loud about what's upsetting me to try and process it. So it's consumed me that much because, and the problem is when you get a lack of sleep, that amalgamates into, you know, not being fully functioning in work the next day. And if you're in a high stress job, which at the moment I am in a high stress situation, that battles through. And you know, I've been struck in the family with acute laryngitis for my wife. So she has been up to A&E 3 times because it just got progressively worse. They didn't know what it was. They've taken bloods and chest x-rays and etc. now, and she's been diagnosed with acute laryngitis. So she's been wiped out for the best part of a week and still going. It's about 2 to 3 weeks to get rid of it. That led me into doing more around the house, which I know, yeah, we do that. We do that as partners because you have to. If one's down, the other one picks it up. However, when you've got the culmination of poor mental health, tiredness because you're not sleeping because of your reasonings, you know, and having to do the additional extra chores, which, you know, we have to do. But when you do that, and then you're looking after 3 children of various ages, with one with their own mental health issues due to the incident, one with her own high stress anxiety naturally in her personality, and then I've, you know, got one that's absolutely fantastic. I'm not saying that they're all fantastic, but one that is, you know, is supportive as best as she can for her age. So, but they all come with their own challenges, and you know, I love them all equally, but it's trying to nurture them into helping you when you need that additional help. So, but you're battling constantly. And I've been battling with, and then you're cooking tea, you're washing dishes, you're walking the dog, you're cleaning the house, and then you're trying to unpick your own mental health and get some sleep. And the last week I haven't slept properly at all. It's been, I saw the demise of myself, and yesterday was kind of, Thursday was my day. I was like, no, I'm fucking done. And already the last couple of nights, and I must warn you, this is a trigger warning for some people that are listening, that the last 3 or 4 nights I've just been not wanting to be here, but that desire has grown stronger to the point where last night was the icing on the cake for me, really. And this is where I think I felt weak, and even saying it I feel weak, which is really not like my mindset, because I'm just trying to say it out loud. But even last night it was, I was unpicking, I talk about this, I was unpicking the failure of my recent interview, because I don't know, it's I suppose I hyper focus on work and the progression of work to get me through my dark days. It's what I've done. It is because it's a really easy thing to do, because the more you focus on work, the more you're rewarded, because you're doing probably more than you should. So naturally, if you're in a good company, you get rewarded. So that then brings your serotonin levels up. You feel good about yourself because you're actually achieving, even though in the background there's a fucking wildfire of fucking craziness, because you're doing, you know, everything right at work. 60% of your day is covered. It's done. You don't need to worry about it, and you're getting the accolade you need, that fake serotonin level, to perk you up. And that's what's been happening. So I was reflecting, because I failed, and I don't like failing. I hate failing. It cripples me. Some people wouldn't see that as a failure, that you got second out of 5 people going for a very senior role and I was the youngest by 10 years. So some people would say getting second is a good thing. You know, they would say that. I didn't. I felt, oh, there's a rain. Sorry, the rain is going to pour down. That is going to pour down. This is the problem when you're in a cabin and it's absolutely horrendous weather. I'm going to pause it for a second to see if I can ride this. No, I'm not. Can I? I was trying to see if I could ride the storm. Hopefully it won't be as bad. It will settle in a minute. So bear with me while I talk through this. So I've lost my train of thought. So yeah, so you naturally produce the serotonin levels. You naturally... Everything's fake, but it makes you feel good. And what you don't realise is behind you, and this is where I cast my mind back to last night. Over the last week, I've been sat there unpicking this, every single thing that's affected me and trying to do it, to the point where, because I felt like I'd failed, because the day of the interview, I'd been to the police with a family matter. I'd just not prepped. I just wasn't able. There, it's settling. I think it's settling. I just wasn't prepped. I just wasn't ready for it. But I was confident. This is where the arrogance came in me, because deep down I knew I should have gone for the job and I should go for it, and I was able to get it. My confidence level was high, so I probably articulated that. And then when I reflected back on the interview, I was like, you fucking idiot. You didn't display your true leadership qualities because you just spoke about controlling one thing. I don't know why. I just didn't think about that next level. And this is how much I feel I've lost control. So I was sat there and I wrote the interview question out. And I saved it on my notes, because that's what I do now. I write these things out. Like I said, I spoke about writing a letter to my parents. So I wrote down how I should have answered that question. And it's almost like I'm desperate to show that now, to show, actually, I can do that. And that's where I'm at. It's the craziness that's in my mind. And then I slept last night. I wrote this whole interview down. Honestly, I'd love to be able to read it to you. But it's on the phone I'm recording on. But I wrote down my whole question, with every fucking, detail you can imagine. Almost above and beyond, to say, don't question my leadership sort of thing. And that's where I got to. And then, but the sad thing was, when I wrote that, and I stopped, because I'd taken that aspect away from my brain, I felt like I'd answered that question. I was then in the mindset where I actually sat there and I went, do you feel like you're content with your life, James? Do you feel like you've achieved everything? And then I ran over everything I'd done. And I ran over, I've got 3 children. I've got a successful career. I've flown in a jet, been in a tank, all these things. I've been to war. I've got a medal, whatever. I went through all of these positives. Literally the positives, like I was writing a pros and cons list for my life, like you would if you were 13-year-old, questioning whether you should stay with this girl or go with the other girl. Do you remember? I don't think you did, but I've seen it on a movie, shall we say? But I was writing pros and cons. I probably should have been in a better context. Like if you were going to go for a job and should I stay? What's the pros and the cons? Okay, that's a more relatable way. But I started doing that with my life, and I was like, do you know what I feel, and this, the bit that scared me was I sat there and I went, oh, fuck, I am actually pretty content, mate. I could happily say I've been successful. I could happily say, and I was even looking around my cabin at the time, going, oh, fucking hell, this is an amazing place. So I'll leave it and it'll be great. People will enjoy coming in here and it's full of me. I've got shit on the fucking wall everywhere. Not shit, literally. Fucking hell. I mean, shit. I call it shit. It's stuff I've designed, painted, pilot helmets and all that sort of stuff, And I've got it all. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty content. I know that people who come around and want to sit in here and fucking feel part of me, whatever. Even now, I feel weak saying it. But that's where I was. And I was like, yeah. And then I went to bed and then that happened. And then I kind of contemplated it again. And I was like, and that's quite sad. And I don't know why I've got there. Even now in the tone of my voice, I can feel the warbling. And I did it last night. I went to get my brakes sorted because I've had back brakes done on my car. This is the pressures of life sometimes. And I went to go and get my brakes sorted. And because there's a problem, and when I got there, I'd been so focused on getting there on time for 5:30 because my punctuality flaw from my military career, and if you're 5 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late, sort of thing. That sort of ethos has been instilled in me, and I can't get rid of it. It's embedded in me from my military days, and so I have to get there. So and that's like normally for me 10 minutes, 15 minutes earlier than the 5-minute grace. That's how crazy I get, because then I can relax, calm down, and be in. So I've actually got it down to a T that if I get there 15 minutes early, I can get out the car slowly, relax, chill, meet the person, and be in a good mood. That's how crazy. That's how the pre-planning goes for my mental health. But I got there, and as soon as I turned into the garage, I went locking fucking wheel nut. I haven't seen the locking wheel nut. And I stripped the car down as best I could, and we couldn't find it, so the brakes haven't been resolved. So now, some people might take that as trivial, but for me that's not. That's sat on my brain now, knowing I still need to get the brakes done. And it's not off my brain. It's something that's still sat there, and I just want it fucking gone and done so I can forget about it and move on with my life. But instead, I've taken control of that. So then I cast my mind back, where the fuck this locking wheel nut's gone? I'm normally, it's been in there for the 6 years I've had the car in this certain place. And the only thing was, I went to change the front brakes with my dad, and I thought I might have left it there. So I went round, sat with my parents for an hour and a half, I think I was on vent mode. I think my parents would listen to me. And I did, I full on vented. I went fucking I need to get this off my brain, because I'm so fucking consumed at the moment. And then I left there, came back, and then I had an argument, so to speak, with my daughter, because, I want her to get out and socialise. I want her to get to a job. And I'm like, fuck, this is all crazy shit going on in my brain. And then obviously I went into the evening. And then today today I woke up late, and I was like, I've just been in that, I was driving around. I've been driving around for an hour, just driving in the rain, just going fucking, not even with the music on, just kind of trying to do something subconsciously, like drive, where you don't need to really think, and just drive around, and stopped in, bought a drink to chill out. And I was like, fucking hell, these dark images were going through my brain, and I was like, I gotta stop this shit, mate. Anyway, so I pull back, and I come back home, and then I have a blazing row with my ill wife. Basically, what I do in my mental health, because I'm an angry person, I think, when I get to the point where I'm in a fucking horrible place, I starting to pick fights with people, not physical fights, like emotional fights, because, as I've said, I'm quite good with English, so I have this way of articulating things, and I don't have to, like I said, words for me are mightier than my sword. I don't need to punch someone. I can hurt people through words, which is quite scarring, really, and I don't like doing it, and I've been able to control it for a long time now. But I sat there, and obviously, bearing in mind, I've just told you my wife's ill, and I've taken to A&E 3 times, and I sat there and I went, oh, you're just fucking not supporting me. You got acute laryngitis. Just fucking get on with it, mate. You're kicking the arse out of it. And that's exactly what I just said. And I was like, okay, right, what the fuck? So I took the dog for a walk, because instantly I knew I was in that mode. I took the dog for a walk, and that was my reflection process. And then on that reflection process, I found I'm not in control, and I've known through my therapy that I like to be in control of everything. I always have been. I like to be in control of my job, and I like to be in control of what I'm doing right, and I like to be in control of my family. Not because I'm a control freak. It sounds like I am, but I mean, as in I don't control them and tell them. I don't dictate to anybody what they can and can't do, unless it's health and safety, because I'm a fucking guru. I don't dictate anything in terms of, but I like to protect people. So I like to control my family, to know where they are, what they're doing, so I can... Sounds horrendous, but I don't mean it in that way. Honestly, I really don't. I mean it in the sense that I just want to know what their focus are, what their plans are, what they're up to, just to make sure that I'm aware. So I'm keeping them safe, and I do that with my mum. I do that with my dad. I do that with my brother. I do that with my missus, miss, I hate that word. I really do hate that word. I do that with my wife, and I do that with my children, my friends. Even when I'm organising something and going somewhere, I like to know things down to the T. And sometimes there's a little flexibility in the middle, and I'm like, fuck it, should we go and do this? It's a bit crazy. Do you know what I mean? Just to fucking mix it up a bit. And that'll be my spontaneity, if you like. But I like to be in control of things, because I like to know the outcome. The rain is coming back slowly. I like to be in control of the outcome. I like to know that the outcome is going to be as best as I can see it. So when I don't know the outcome, and like I said, I've lost control of my family. I've lost control of understanding my wife, because she's been very ill. I've lost control of my job, because, I got not caught out, but I was on a meeting the other day, and I I won't bore you with the details, but somebody made me look a fucking fool. And it wasn't because of me, and I had a plethora of evidence that it wasn't because of me, but somebody did that on an open forum, and it made me feel a little bit disheartened. And so I wrote an email to go, actually fucking and I didn't write it emotionally, because I actually wrote it, went away for an hour, came back and went, no, I've removed a couple because it was a bit long in certain areas, and I just went, no, I think that's professional enough, get the fuck on with it, sort of thing. But I didn't feel in control of my job. I didn't feel in control of my family. I didn't control, and that ultimately led to not feeling in control with my life. And that's where I think that's the bit I've got with. And then obviously something to do with, and I'm going to say this as a funny thing, the Abdullah oblongata. It's not. It's probably fucking not. I don't really know. But something in my brain then took over and went, James, you just do it. You're not weak. You're a fucking... And this is me talking as a third person, but I genuinely believe these words. James, you're not weak. You're strong. You're kind. You're knowledgeable. You're friendly. You're protective. It's just you're struggling. I get that. But I feel weak because I don't like being that person. It's almost like all of that kindness and goodness is not helping me be in control, and I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do about it. And I'm not asking for sympathy. This is just showing you that, 2 weeks ago I'm fucking fine, and then I just cascaded into this place, and it's almost like the jigsaw puzzles are being fitted together as I go through the days, and those jigsaw puzzles are added problems. And then you're sort of kind of... It's not just me. Like I said, I cast mine back to the talk we had where, it's... My friends are feeling that pressure. They're feeling those things. I don't know into what depth they are. And this is where my process comes in place, where I like to talk openly because... But sometimes it is hard as a bloke to talk openly to your friends, to show them, because you just don't want to feel emasculated. You don't want to feel like you're not the things that I've just outlined I am. You don't want to show that. However, when I'm feeling weak like that, I naturally go into my my own protective state where I start displaying this fucking argumentative, angry person to say, I'm struggling, I'm gone into fight or flight now, and I'm not a flighter, I'm a fighter, so I'm going to sit there and make you all feel fucking emasculated just to show how strong I am as a person, because, that's the man in me, and I do that naturally, and that might sound fucking crazy, but I do. I naturally then start displaying this peacock thing, where I go, fucking, actually, mate, and like I said to my wife, fucking, you're kicking the arse out of this, mate. I had this fucking 8 years ago, and the scenario puts into context, it's, we had 3 children at the time when they were young, and I had a case of the flu, not a cold. I had a case of the flu, which led to fluid on my lungs and almost getting pneumonia, and wiped me out violently for like 7 or 8 days. I mean, we're not talking a cold. This is one of those ones where if you've had the flu, you'll get it once, maybe twice in your lifetime, where you're completely bedridden. And I remember sitting there when I was young. It was about 10 years ago, and I remember sitting there fucking crying because I just wanted it to go away. I was like, fuck, I need you to help me. And my miss at the time thought it'd be easier just to go away from the house so she didn't get the illness, and also to look after these 3 kids. Well, I sat there a minute ago going, this is where the anger comes in and the protective nature comes in, and that show of like masculinity. I sat there and went, well, fucking, I had it 10 years ago, and you upped and fucked off. You left me to just sit here and die. At least I've done this. Started outlining all this stuff I've done, which, by the way, I caveat that with the fact that it is just general duties. Doing the dishes and washing and ironing and things like that is just stuff we should be doing anyway. But I'm blessed with an amazing wife who does it all for me. We have our roles in our life. She does the washing, and I'm just not used to that. So, but I turned it into a negative, and then she looked at me and went, it's just stuff I do, mate. What are you talking about, sort of thing? And I went, oh, you want to fucking argue, do you? Okay, well, fucking hell, you need to man the fuck up. You're just kicking your ass out of this fucking thing. And that's where I went to. So I went, and like I said, cast my back, and to add a little bit to that, I did come in, and this is just prior to this, and I walked in, and because sometimes I can't control that. I try to control how I do deal with people. I am an emotional person. I'm an honest person, and honesty and emotions don't often go very well, because you are quite brutally honest. So I just basically, I came back in, and I went for my reflection walk, and I came back in, and I said to her, you know, I'm going to go and do a podcast, because I feel that if I talk about these things, and obviously it's highlighting awareness that this is the crazy shit that we go through in our brains, and I came back in and said, I'm going to go do a podcast. I'm in a really fucking horrible place right now, and I don't really know how to deal with it. I feel like I've lost control of my life, family, work, and I don't like it, because I like to be in control. I like to know the outcome. I said, you're not kicking the arse out of it. You're horrendously ill. I'm an absolute fucking twat. And I apologise. You're an amazing woman. I am absolutely sorry. I know that I can't undo those words because I've already spoken them. But please let me try and water the toxicity of it by explaining what's going on in my head, so you understand that it's not me. It's a mental episode, and I'm not using that as an excuse, because again, I will caveat that with the fact that I'd like to be a nice person. My mum actually called me kind last night. Actually, she's never said before. She says, you are actually just a kind person. And I'm not, do you know what? I like to think I am a kind person. I don't like hurting people. The problem is I have the ability to emotionally and physically hurt people due to my size and my nature. It's the alpha male in me. So because of that, it's like a double-edged sword, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet, because that's not what I class as an attribute in any way, shape or form. The attribute part of me is the fun, crazy, outrageous, try and do anything, kind, will do anything for anyone person. That's my attribute. But it's very, very overcast sometimes with this alpha male in me, where I'm big hands, big head, big belly, big willy. Not really, I'm just going to say that because I'm a man. I'm a childish man. But, you know, that gets overshadowed sometimes. And because it's so overpowering, it's really hard to control the alpha in me. It's always been the beast, I call it, in the back of me. And it ruled me through depression. It was almost like I was a split personality. And it did rule me. And it does. It shows, it rears its ugly head sometimes. And I don't like it. I fucking hate it. I absolutely hate it. Because I know how effective it is. Even on the walk, even when this is how crazy it is, even when I made the bed this morning, because I've been sleeping in the bed on my own for the last week, because my wife's been violently ill and coughing and spluttering, like say it's acute laryngitis. So we've just separated, and she's gone on the sofa, because she can sleep anywhere I can't because of my back. So she's been accommodating as well. So what an amazing woman, and I'm an arsehole, I get that. But even in there, I made the bed this morning, and this is just me reflecting now, because I'm relaxing, I'm talking, and I feel like I'm opening up, and it's nice. I made the bed this morning, and I went, actually, I quite like sleeping on my own. So I was already preparing myself to be alone. I'm already preparing myself to fuck off somewhere. I was Googling this morning at 8 o'clock when my alarm went off, because I needed to phone the doctors, because I was like, I need the doctor to help me here. And I went, fuck it, I'm going to man up and crack on with it. So I switched my alarm off. I Googled how to move to Canada, because again, I'm pretty confident with my skills as a health and safety advisor at the top level that I would get a job anywhere. I just, you know, I am quite confident with that. I like to think I'm good at my job. And I was like, fuck it, I'll go to Canada on my own. What sort of money I need, that's how crazy I was. That's how one mind is. I'm casting my mind into, and I spoke to you just a minute ago about fight or flight, and the one part of me is going like, fight, I'm going to fuck everyone up around me verbally and emotionally, and then the other side to me is going, well, if you flight, mate, you're comfortable living on your own, you have the skills that pay the bills, as they say. In other words, I'm good at DIY, I like designing, I like making things, so I can turn anything into something nice if I put my mind to it. I was like, fuck it, just go, mate. You want to go out into the wilderness. You want to, you want to go for walks. And then I thought, oh yeah, I'll start doing a bit of social media. I'll start doing photography because it'll be beautiful landscape. This is how mental my mind's gone in the flight aspect. I've already practically gotten the only thing I haven't got is the actual address. It didn't even faze my mind about the children. It literally to the point where I was like, yeah, they can come over on holiday. Didn't even faze me about the dog. And my Casper is my fucking world. And even I was like, nah, you stay here and I'll go out there and I'll get a couple of dogs. That is the lengths that your mental health will go to. And it's horrible. Fucking hell. Just saying it makes me feel weak. And I'm not a weak person, but I know that there's people out there that are thinking, nah, mate, you're all right. And there's other people, fucking hell, you man up. But I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not a weak person. I'm pretty strong, I like to think, but not mentally. It's bonkers where you go to. And I think it's that control aspect. And I don't know, maybe you're a control freak. Maybe you can relate to this. I like to be in control. It's a horrible thing, though, trying to be in control. Because it's not a control freak as in... Excuse me, I'll take a little sip of my orange juice, actually. Lovely. It's not a control freak as in... what's it like? You can't go there. Text me every 2 minutes. God, that's really sour, that orange juice. So it's my mouth's liquidating, moist. Anyway, sorry about that. I apologise. But yeah, it just sort of kind of makes you feel emasculated, doesn't it? But it doesn't. It does and it doesn't. It's like I'm an alpha male. I know I'm an alpha male, but just like I said. There'll be people out there that be going, no, he's not. He's 100% fine. He's you're all right. Stay strong. And I get that. And then there's other people that be going, no, man the fuck up, mate. Sort yourself out. And it's a hard battle to deal with. And even now, like just talking to you, part of me has lost a train of thought because I've just fogged over. It's almost like you don't get that control. But like I said, if you're a control freak, that is one of the hardest things to deal with. And I think that when you start losing control, depending on what your outlook is, my outlook is I'm lost control. I start then going into the realms of, well, I know I'm capable of doing this and this. Christ, I've been to war. Do you know what I mean? So I've spent 7 months in the arse end of the desert. So. For me personally, it doesn't faze me going to another place. I love travelling. I've even wanted to look for jobs that will allow me to travel. I was envious, actually, because I heard of... there's a person I know, her name's Ella, and not that really matters, but, she was at my old job, and she's just got a job. She's been just been promoted to a job where she travels around and deals with jobs, and her first week she does induction, and then the second week she's straight off to Kenya for 2 weeks. To do her job out there, and I was just like, fuck, that's an amazing job to go and get into that. How do you even hear about that shit? And it does make me jealous, because I have that ambition to, want to move on, and I have that ambition to want to travel and see new sights and try new things, and that's a hard thing to battle with when you're not ultimately in control. And if you're a control freak like me, and like I said, I cast mine back a minute ago, it's not about control in every aspect. It's not about being that control freak that we would probably... If I say control freak, most of you listening would assume either micromanagement from your boss, a bit of a control freak, he micromanages me, or you would probably interpret it as a relationship, possibly a female controlling a male, making them buy things, do things, etc., and using either whatever their realms are, normally sex for women, isn't it? Or a control freak from a male where they literally limit the access of a female and, stop them having a life. They're literally like a slave. And if that was going to say control freak, that's probably the scenarios you'd think of. But I don't mean control freak like that. I mean an internal control freak. So I display these controlling aspects to my life in the sense that, I like to hear from certain people because it's nice. It makes me feel good and I like to reciprocate. So this is why I talk to my friends daily, because I like to hear from them. I like to know how they're getting on. I like to know that if they're at a stumbling block in their life, I will help them. And And I like to know about what my wife's doing. Where are you? What are you doing? But then at the same time, I won't say to her where I'm going. And I don't mean that as a negative sense, but I just go off and do it. I've always just done that because I know I can protect myself. But I like to know where they are because I want to look after them. So if something happens and I say, like, so my daughter says to me she's in town. And I'm like, okay, whereabouts in town? And that's not me wanting to control. That's so I know that if she gives me a phone call saying she's in trouble, I know exactly where to go. Exactly. I know what the address is, and I will be there as if fucking Google Maps says fucking 5 minutes, I'm there in 2. Yeah, it's as simple as that. I like to know the location. I like to know that because I want to be able to protect. It's the same as if I know my wife somewhere. I'm like, I want to know where you are because I want to be able to get there to help you if I need you. If my dad's in a certain situation, my mum's in a certain, whatever. I like to know where they are. And that's why I plan everything else, so I know where we all are. It's almost like that. Probably why I'm quite relatable to my German Shepherd, because you like to herd people in, and I do. I like to hold the people that I love the most. All of my friends and family. When I say I love them, I genuinely do. Like if I can speak openly with them, you're in my bubble, as in you're in my flock, shall we say? And I like to protect those people, no matter what. Yes, I'll make mistakes along the way, but I like to protect people. So that's the controlling aspect. And when you lose control of that, that's where someone like me starts to dive in. And then it's like, I like to extend that, even like to my colleague. I've got a really amazing colleague of mine at the moment, and his name's Adam. But he's a really fantastic guy. And I didn't think we'd get on actually at the start when we first met, because we like chalk and cheese. He's very much a relaxed, he's very much chilled out, very much calm, and very specific in his direction, but, very intelligent. So I didn't think we were going to get on. I thought we were going to clash, but actually he does sort of, in that sense, calm me down. It's almost like my friend. It's like my friends around me. We all have different attributes, and I suppose, I relate him to my best mate, because he's very relaxed, he's very chilled, calms me a little bit, but at the same time we'll go along for the journey to have a good time. And I get that with this colleague. But again, I'm quite an open person, so I'm like, dude, mate, I really appreciate you sending a message. Thanks, mate, you've been absolutely fantastic. And I can see he's not used to that aspect. He's not used to that protection himself, because I suppose he's ex-military, so he's probably been that way. But it's interesting how the dynamics of your group all work together. It's really important that you get that to help you. Especially, I think there's a control freak. It's a control freak, I say it, because he is a bit of a control freak, but it is hard when you like to control every aspect. And I've had fallings out before. There was this guy I worked with for years on projects, Andy, absolutely amazing guy. But again, he's a control freak. He absolutely is. And because I'm a control freak, we did clash quite a bit. The problem is I'm just a little bit more, and this is not in a negative sense to him, a little louder and a little bit more brash. So I kind of just, I then went into the fight mode, and he's not a fighter by any stretch of the imagination. I can tell that. But he's also a control freak. He likes to control every aspect of everything. So we clashed, but at the same time, we absolutely respected each other, because he knew he basically got the best out of me. Because he had a shame he couldn't follow up with the rewards that were promised, but that's another fucking story. That's another thing to unpick with a therapist. Anyway, so controlling. Are you a control freak? Are you somebody that does this? Are you somebody that needs that control aspect? How does it affect you with your mental health? Listen to this. How it affects me. And it's not because I'm weak. It's not. I don't think I am. Maybe I am weak. I don't know. I'm not a fucking therapist. But it is tough. I like to... when you have a certain outlook on life and you like to know about it, the downside is, because I'm very focused on... I know I can achieve anything. I really do. And I'm a big believer in that. I cast my mind back, actually. And this is something that resonated with me my whole life. And I know that you can probably say that your parents don't have an impact on your life. Parents don't really have an impact. They really do. And this is why I'm trying to take back control of my family. Because parents do have an influence on your outlook on life. My dad was quite hard on me, but at the same time, you know, it's paid off in the way my outlook in life. In the sense that I remember him, he said he was he obviously got to remember he grew up in the 70s. So I remember him working in this factory, and he used to believe if he can undo this nut nut and bolt, if he could undo this nut with a spanner, he genuinely believed that he had the strength and commitment to undo it with his own fingers. I mean, obviously, the reality of it is there's no fucking way. It's metal on metal, mate. So, fucking get educated. No, I'm joking. I love him to bits. But the strength and belief that he had that he could do that. And then he told me that story when I was young, and he probably forgot that he told me, but I remember that story. And I've always had that ethos. And that's why when people say to me, fucking hell, James, you can't do that, I'm like, I can. I fucking can. Obviously, I know how physics works in a small sense, and I'm a mechanic. I'm a trained, qualified mechanic, old days. So I know that you can't do that. You can't undo a bolt that's been tightened up with a spanner. So I know that. But if it was physically possible, I would do it until I got it. That's where I go. And I've been told a lot of things in my life. People said to me, you can't do this, you can't do that. Someone said to me, you can't do your level 6. You can't do your level 6 degree in health and safety. And I did it in fucking 8 months. So, fuck you. But I'm a big believer. I like it when people say to me you can't do something, because I will prove them wrong. I like to just, like I say, it's a control aspect. I mean, if you're that person, then maybe you'll feel that pressure as well. Maybe you'll feel the way that if we don't manage it. And this is why I was hoping this conversation would help me unpick things. And it has. It's made me feel very relaxed. I've had some music on the background. And I think it's the process, actually. Because I shut the curtains, I go in my cabin, it's quiet, I have some relaxing music on, and I talk openly. You've got to remember, I've spoke openly to a wooden table and a microphone for the last fucking 10 months on my own. So that's crazy. And I'm very proud of that, though. I'm very proud of what I've achieved here. Because hopefully I'm making a difference. I really do hope that there's people out there that maybe suffer. And despite, and this is where I suppose I can put that physical positive spin on it, that by sticking with your routine, by sticking with your focus, and yeah, these times are fucking tough. They will ramrod you. They will kick you in the bollocks and give you that sick feeling, and you won't even fucking understand it. But what you need to remember is we've got all this plethora of good times to perk up on. All these experiences, all this knowledge, and like I said, when I was reflecting this morning or last night, early hours of the morning, saying, I feel like I've achieved a lot. What you can do is when you reflect, and this is where I'll put a little spin on it for you. Mentally focused, I then woke up and went, well, James, that just goes to show what you're capable of doing. So you can do more. You're fucking 41, mate. Chill the fuck out. You enjoy your life. If you've done that in your first 40 years, bearing in mind we don't do a lot in our first 16 years because we're fucking children, even into early adulthood, if you can call it that, 17 to 24, I didn't really do a maximum amount of things. I mean, obviously I had children and stuff like that, but I've achieved so much. You need to stop, reflect, and focus. And this is where even now I'm going boom, because I'm talking to you and I've analysed all that bit. I'm now going, well, actually, that just goes to prove what you've done in the first 40 years, what you've got here, what you're nurturing, what you're looking after. You've got a process. You feel good about the process. Hopefully, you're helping people, and you've got many more years to keep going. So this is the importance. And even now, I'm smiling. I'm actually smiling. Going from driving around in the dark last night from my mum and dad's, crying, because I was like, I I don't know what to do. I don't know how to take control, to stopping now and going, fucking hell, it's there. It's in front of you, James. But it's important. It's important that you follow the process. It's important you add these well-being dynamics into your life, because life can be tough, and you're dealing with so many different personalities in life. You're dealing with people that don't give a fuck and they'll put pressure on you and not care. You're dealing with people like me that will take on too much pressure and care too much, really. And I think I do. I think I sometimes care too much. I'd love to be able to not care. I really would. I really would love to be able to not care. But I do. I care about everything. I care about the decisions I've made in life. I care about the path that I'm on. I care about the people that are around me. I want everybody around me to succeed. I want everybody around me to be happy. I want everyone around. So when they're sat, and if they're sat in their castle, and they've got there and they're happy, I want to be the guy that they invite. I want to be the guy that say, you helped me get to where I am, or you were there all the way along and you were struggling, but you still managed to maintain support. I want to be that guy that gets invited. And is that wanting to be inclusive? Probably. Because I know that I can bring a lot to the party, and I know that I like to have a good time. I like to make more memories, more things to focus on. So when I do trip over and fall on the depression bollock kicking that we all get, I want to be able to dive into these different memories to help me out. That's what we do for life, you know. In life, we go through life to create memories so that they can help us when all of us go through these shit times. And we dive in, and then we do it as a group, because then if I'm having a shit time, you can go, James, fuck me, mate. Do you remember, we need to do this? It's like my friend Kieran, my best mate, fucking legend. He literally was, I texted him, I hardly spoke on the little group, and he said to me, mate, I hope the weather's fucking great on Sunday so we can go and play some golf, and we can chew the fat, and we can have a good time, we can put the world to rights. And I was like, yes, we fucking need that. And that's what we do. He knows when I'm not feeling great. He knows what needs to happen to get me feeling great. And then what happens is we start sending photos to each other, videos to each other. We plan things. And that's where the cycle comes in if you're with the right people. I like to be with the right people. And that's what we do in life. We go around with these people so that we can create memories to pick us up on these dark days. It doesn't matter how poor you are and how rich you are. We all suffer problems. And it doesn't work on wealth. I mean, okay, some people would say if you're rich, you have less chance of being unhappy because you've got the money to go and fucking go somewhere nice and cast your mind away from it all. You have that ability. If you're poor, you fucking don't. So I get the point. I get the difference in everything. But that's what this journey is about. This journey is about nurturing the right people to help you, support you, following your structure, following your routine. I have a friend of mine at the moment, and he's been sending me food porn. It's the only way, because we're all on this healthy diet, and the Billster absolutely sends the fucking best food I've seen in fucking ages, and I want him to move in to cook me dinners. And that's what we do. We perk each other up. We follow our processes. We follow our reflections, meditations, whatever it may be. We do that, and we reach out to the people around us to nurture the right people. That's what we do to get through life. And not get through life, because I hate saying let's get through life, as in fucking show me where the end is, I've had enough. It's what we do to enjoy life. It's to stop wasting time on the negatives and start bringing in the positives. And that's why we need to look after each other. Anyway, I'm going to stop there because I feel good. I do feel good. And I feel happy that I've been able to talk openly. It's been a tough day already. But I'm going to go in. I'm going to put on some relaxing clothes and sit and chill with my famalam, as they say. Famalam, bruv. before the rain starts again. So thank you for listening to me. I hope you're okay. Stay strong and honestly, keep focused. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. I need a Bilster. Bilster's coming on. I'm going to get him on to a live. I'm going to do banter with Billy. So look out for that coming up soon. Take care, everyone. Stay strong.